I'm confident that this is Minecraft's most underrated enchantment. I recently saw a video on YouTube titled "They Lied to You About Thorns," made by a YouTuber called Lewis. And after watching it, it confirmed the feelings I've always had about thorns. Because if you're not that aware, when it comes to the PvP aspect of Minecraft, which is a huge part of the game, almost every player who actively plays PvP disgustingly underrates thorns. Let me show you what I mean. A bit more than a week ago, I made a poll asking people what armor they would prefer in Minecraft PvP. And as you can see, the overwhelming majority picked the option that doesn't include thorns. And this is a reoccurring result because I've done a good amount of polls that include thorns, and every single time the option that doesn't include thorns gets picked. And you know, I've always deep down thought that thorns is better than people think, but I never really dove into the detailed reasons as to why that is. And even if you read the comments of this poll, you can clearly see that virtually everyone thinks that thorns sucks for PvP. Thorns is more of a curse than an enchant, because it makes your armor break faster and their damage reflection does like nothing. If they both had a breaking 1, I would choose diamond, but no, unbreaking means I choose netherite. I'd rather have a diamond chestplate with curse of vanishing and binding than thorns. And then someone else follows up by saying, I'd rather wear an iron chestplate with blast protection than use diamond armor with thorns. I mean, the thorns disrespect is getting crazy. Who would even want thorns? Especially for PvP, it's just the worst. Thorns for survival because it's literally hilarious. It's garbage for PvP. Thorns is never useful because it makes your armor lose durability faster. And then someone in the comments is finally sensible and says, y'all really underestimate thorns and overestimate netherite. And you know, after seeing this video from Lewis, I wanted to react to it because his video about thorns being underrated is actually amazing. Because it shows that a lot of these people who think that thorns is very bad are completely wrong, because in a lot of PvP aspects, thorns has way more benefits than it has negatives. And you will see that the whole durability aspect of it isn't even that accurate either, so let's just get into it. Lewis starts this video out by showing an example of thorns being very good. And as you can see here, because of thorns, he ends up winning this battle. Someone tried to get him with crystals, and because he had thorns, he actually survived this attack. Yeah, look at this. This is just crazy. What if thorns is actually good? Well, that's what I've been thinking the whole time. And you know, nobody has been agreeing with me ever, so watching a video like this is absolutely perfect for me. Thorns activates on most direct attacks. He's just showing like examples of thorns obviously here. And you know, this whole video is very interesting. It is generally a solid enchant for survival, allowing you to ignore mobs while building. And yeah, that's also a good thing. Or take short AFK breaks without protection. It also has some niche uses, such as obtaining rare stats / death messages, and creating AFK looting farms on servers with low spawn rates. Since Thorns is a late game enchant, the dura loss isn't that significant as most hostile mobs drop XP. The only real downside is that it can accidentally harm mobs. And Thorns has even more uses in PvP. Its knockback makes the user harder to chase, chain / combo or aggro, which definitely is a big aspect. And as you can see, he's going to give an example with the mace here. And as you can see, with no thorns, you can chain combos like it's nothing. And then with thorns, his combo is going to be completely messed up because of thorns. It's actually quite insane. And here for the Minecore PvP as well, you can see that it completely messes up the attack. This force also pulls you to the ground, knocking you off course during spear D-taps. Thorns damage stick causes you to take both instances of damage from your D-taps, essentially making you D-tap yourself every time you perform one. While the Thorns damage isn't high, it's still decent enough to kill naked opponents. It can also get you out of zombie spear traps provided the zombies aren't armored, which I didn't even know anything about. If you capture someone's piercing arrow, you can even use Thorns to remotely kill them indefinitely. This is some nerdy stuff, bro, I can't lie. However, aside from you messing up your opponent's hits, it can also interfere with your own knockback hits, making it harder to disengage yourself. Similar to what happens when you use fire aspect, and you know, that is true. There's obviously some downsides, but just like the fire aspect, it usually messes them up more, which is why people run fire resistance. And here is the true durability test, and as you can see, the helmet with thorns obviously breaks a little bit faster. But similar to the other drawback, it may work more in your favor than you think. When thorns activates, it deals a random amount of damage between 1 and 5. Its damage is affected by difficulty if worn by other entities, costing 2 durability per activation. You know, this is some nerdy math right here. The level of thorns determines the activation chance. And as you can see, there's a lot of different activation chances there. Multiple pieces can activate at once, but since they occur in the same damage tick, the highest damage overrides the rest, which is very interesting. Because of this, it's best to use thorns only on your chestplate as it has the most durability. Chestplate also takes less durability if elytras are involved, and you can only get thorns on chestplates from regular enchanting. If you're still worried about your chestplate breaking, you can always lower the thorns level. Or if you want even more frequent thorns activations, you can also run thorns on your leggings, but you would get slightly less bang for your buck. And as you can see, there's the activation chances there, which is very interesting information. What makes thorns incredibly underrated is the fact that it does durability damage to your opponent as well. Not accounting on breaking, armor loses 1 durability for every attack below 8 damage. This means regardless of the thorns damage, it deals 4 durability to your opponent while only costing you 2. This is even more impactful if your opponent doesn't smart mend, since your opponent loses extra durability on marked critical armor pieces, whilst you only lose extra durability on your healthiest armor piece. And you know, he's going into some math here, and dude, it's very interesting, and this kind of proves my whole theory about thorns, because it's pretty crazy stuff. Full thorns is extremely effective. Typically, Unbreaking 3 gives 75% chance to prevent durability loss, but for armor, it only has a 30% chance to prevent durability loss. Unfortunately, thorns bypasses your own Unbreaking, causing you to lose 2 durability regardless. Overall, this still results in a net positive of about 0.8 durability per activation. However, if you hit them in the same tick before your thorns activates, your attack overrides the thorns durability damage. This reduces its effectiveness in sword heavy modes, but perfect for game modes like Mace, especially with Wind Burst. Surprisingly, thorns can be blocked with a shield. This would on average drain 0.9 extra durability per thorns armor piece per projectile. For most cases, you can just slap any level of thorns on your chestplate without needing to worry about durability. However, thorns very much falls under the category of items that are good but annoying. And you know, this is a big one, yet unlike those items, it is a passive item that only causes your opponent to mess up more based on RNG, making it terrible for practice but great for getting a slight edge when needed, cementing its place as the new annoying addition to the crystal PvP meta, and the most underrated enchantment ever. And you know, that was a very good video from Lewis. It said everything I kinda wanted to say over these last couple years. But yeah, give me your thoughts about this in the comments.